If you have a dash cam stuck to your windscreen right now, I need 30 seconds of your time before you do anything else with it. Because there is one mistake, one single click, that thousands of UK drivers make every single week. And it can turn a harmless bit of dashcam footage into a data protection complaint, a civil claim, or in the worst cases, a fine running into the thousands of pounds. It is not about whether you are allowed to film. You are. It is about what happens after you hit record, and more importantly, what happens after you hit upload. Stick with me for the next few minutes, because by the end of this video, you will know exactly where that line sits, and exactly how to stay on the right side of it. Let's start with the good news, because most of what you have heard about dashcams being some kind of legal gray area is simply not true. Dashcams are completely legal in the UK. You do not need a license, a permit, or anyone's permission to fit one to your car. There is nothing in the Road Traffic Act that stops you recording while you drive, whether that is on a public road or on private land you are entitled to be on. So if your only worry is whether owning a dash cam is allowed, you can relax. The real questions start once the camera is actually running. The first thing that does have a hard legal line is how you fit it. Under the Road Vehicles Construction and Use Regulations, every driver must have a full, clear view of the road ahead. That means your dashcam cannot block your line of sight, and if it sits within the area your windscreen wipers sweep, it is not allowed to intrude more than 40 millimeters into that zone. In practice, that means mounting it low down behind the rearview mirror, or tucked into the corner of the windscreen on the passenger side, with the cables run neatly into the trim rather than dangling across the dashboard. Get the position wrong and you risk a roadside check turning into a construction and use offense, on top of any privacy issues further down the line. It sounds like a small detail, but it is the most commonly broken rule of all, simply because most people never think about it. Now here is where it gets interesting, and where the real money question comes in. The moment your dashcam captures another person's face, another car's number plate, or anything else that could identify someone, that footage becomes what the law calls personal data. That single fact is the hinge that the rest of this video swings on, so keep it in mind. Personal data is governed in the UK by the UK GDPR and the Data Protection Act 2018, and those laws exist whether you are a multinational logistics company or just someone driving to the supermarket. The question is not whether the rules exist. The question is whether they apply to you in your specific situation, and that depends entirely on what you do with the footage. If you are a private individual using a dashcam purely for your own personal security, for peace of mind, or to have evidence ready in case of an accident, you fall under what is known as the personal or household activity exemption. This is a specific carve-out in data protection law that says recordings made purely for your own domestic purposes are not subject to the full weight of UK GDPR. The Information Commissioner's Office, the regulator that polices this whole area, has confirmed that everyday drivers recording for their own use sit outside its enforcement focus. So if your dashcam footage sits quietly on a memory card, gets recorded over every few days, and is only ever pulled out if something actually happens on the road, you are in a comfortable position. That is the camera doing exactly what most people bought it for, and the law is not coming after you for that. But here is the catch, and this is the part almost nobody explains properly. That personal use exemption is not unconditional, and it is not permanent. It applies while your use stays purely personal. The second you take that footage and push it out into a public space, the protection can disappear, and you can find yourself reclassified as something called a data controller, which is the same legal status a business would have. Posting a clip to a public Facebook group because someone cut you up, uploading dramatic footage to YouTube for views, dropping it into a community page to call someone out by name. All of these take footage that started as private and personal and put it in front of an unlimited audience with faces and number plates still fully visible. At that point, you are no longer just recording for yourself. You are processing and distributing someone else's personal data, and that is exactly the kind of activity the law was written to control. This is the single mistake that causes almost every dashcam-related complaint that lands on the Information Commissioner's desk, and it is worth slowing down on. It is not the recording, It is the sharing. If someone is clearly identifiable in a clip you post publicly and they did not consent to that, they have the right to complain. They can report it to the ICO. They can, in more serious cases, pursue a civil claim against you for misuse of private information, particularly if the footage causes them embarrassment, harassment, or reputational harm. Now, for an individual posting one clip, the ICO is highly unlikely to throw the maximum end of its enforcement powers at you. But that does not mean there is no cost. Legal letters, the time and stress of responding to a formal complaint, the genuine possibility of a small claims case, and in the most serious instances, real financial penalties are all on the table. And the irritating part is that the fix costs you nothing and takes about 2 minutes. Before you post anything publicly, blur the faces and blur the number plates. There are free tools that do this automatically in a couple of clicks, and most modern editing apps on your phone can manage it too. Blur the identifying details, keep the story the footage tells, and you sidestep almost the entire privacy risk while still being able to show the world that someone genuinely did something ridiculous on a roundabout. If footage needs to go to the police or your insurer because of an actual incident, send it directly and privately. There is no need to blur anything there, because that is precisely the legitimate, narrow use the law expects. The risk only appears when footage leaves that narrow lane and goes wide. Let me give you a quick example of how this plays out in real life, because it makes the whole thing much clearer than the legal language does. Picture a driver who gets cut off badly on a roundabout, films the whole thing perfectly, and within 10 minutes has uploaded it to a popular dashcam group on social media with a caption naming and shaming the other driver. The footage is clear, the other car's plate is fully visible, and the post gets thousands of views overnight. That driver has done nothing wrong by recording the incident. The problem is entirely in what happened after, because the moment that clip went public with an identifiable plate and a public call-out attached, the original driver became a data controller in the eyes of the law, and the other person now has a genuine basis to complain, both to the ICO and potentially through a civil claim. Compare that with a second driver who has the exact same footage, but instead reports the incident through the National Dashcam Safety Portal, sends the clip privately to their insurer, and posts nothing online at all. Same camera, same footage, same dangerous moment caught on film, but a completely different legal outcome, because one stayed inside the lines and the other did not. It is also worth knowing that staying compliant is not just about avoiding fines, it can actually work in your favor. A growing number of insurers now offer discounts of around 10 to 15% for drivers who fit a dash cam, simply because it reduces fraudulent claims and speeds up fault decisions when something does go wrong. Handled properly, with sensible storage and no public oversharing, a dash cam is one of the few bits of kit in your car that can genuinely save you money rather than cost you it. The whole point of this video is making sure it stays that way. Now let's talk about the other group this affects, because if you use a dash cam for work, the rules step up a full level, and ignorance here gets expensive fast. If you are a taxi driver, a private hire driver, a courier, a driving instructor, or you run any kind of fleet, your dash cam use is not personal anymore. It is business processing, and that means full UK GDPR compliance applies to you, no exemption, no gray area. The first thing this means in practical terms is registration. If your vehicles are used for business and they are recording footage, you are very likely required to register with the Information Commissioner's Office and pay the annual data protection fee. For most small operators, that is around £52 a year. It sounds trivial, and that is exactly why people forget it, but failing to register when you are required to is itself an offense, and the ICO can issue fines for unregistered processing, separate entirely from anything to do with the footage itself. Beyond registration, business use brings a whole checklist most drivers have never seen. You need a documented, lawful basis for recording, something written down that explains why you are doing it, whether that is driver safety, insurance protection, or security. You need to tell people they are being recorded, which for taxis and private hire vehicles usually means a visible sign inside the car. You need a privacy notice that explains how footage is stored, for how long, and who it might be shared with, and your sign should point people to where they can find it. You need to actually delete routine footage on a sensible schedule, because keeping months of recordings of ordinary journeys for no specific reason breaches the data minimization principle at the heart of GDPR. Most guidance points to deleting non-incident footage within roughly a week to a few weeks, only keeping clips longer when there is an actual reason, like a collision or a dispute. And if someone formally asks you for a copy of footage that includes them, called a subject access request, you are legally required to respond within 1 month. Audio is where business users in particular need to slow right down. Recording sound inside a vehicle is treated as significantly more sensitive than video alone because it can capture private conversations between passengers who never agreed to be recorded. If you operate a taxi or private hire vehicle and you record audio, passengers reasonably need to be made aware of that before or as they get in, and many operators simply switch audio off by default and only enable it in genuinely exceptional circumstances, like a specific safety concern. It is a sensible approach even for personal use. If you are giving a lift to a friend or a colleague and your dashcam happens to record audio, telling them is not a legal obsession. It is just basic decency, and it also happens to keep you compliant. So what does the actual financial risk look like if any of this goes wrong? For businesses, the upper ceiling under UK GDPR is genuinely serious. Fines can, in theory, reach into the millions of pounds or a percentage of global turnover for the most severe violations. In reality, the ICO reserves that kind of enforcement for large-scale, deliberate, or repeated failures, not a small operator who made an honest mistake. But smaller, much more common penalties are very real. Fines for failing to register and pay the data protection fee. Enforcement notices that force a business to change its practices immediately. Reputational damage when a customer or driver complains publicly. And for individuals, the financial risk usually shows up not as an ICO fine, but as legal costs and potential damages from a civil claim if someone's privacy has genuinely been violated by something you posted. Here is the simple version to take away from all of this. Recording is fine. Owning a dashcam, driving around with it running, mounting it correctly, that is all completely legal and the law has no interest in stopping you. The risk lives entirely in what happens next. Keep footage private unless there is a real reason to share it. Send it directly to police or insurers when it matters. Blur faces and plates before anything goes public. If you are using a dashcam for work, register with the ICO, put a basic privacy notice in place, tell people they are being recorded, and do not hoard footage longer than you need it. None of this is complicated once you know it, and all of it is far cheaper than finding out the hard way. If this video saved you from a mistake you did not even know you were making, that is exactly why I make these videos. Hit subscribe so you do not miss the next one, because there is always another rule sitting quietly in the small print, waiting to catch someone out, and I would rather you hear it from me first. Thanks for watching, drive safe, and I will see you in the next one. Subscribe to my channel.